Sim Update 10 is now out for Microsoft Flight Simulator, but is it good? Does it improve the product? Hey everyone, it's Hotchmania, and if you're like me, you've been looking at Sim Update 10 for quite a while. It has been the delayed, but not denied, update for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it has a number of new features, patches, and a variety of other things added to it and changed. Whenever there's a Sim Update, it's a really important deal because it's a mega update to the game that changes a lot of fundamental features. And now that Microsoft Flight Simulator is a little more mature, there's a lot that's in it. So I think the most important thing, if you're going to talk about what this update is all about, because if you look through the changelog, there's quite a bit of things. The most important thing is definitely the performance. Microsoft really targeted improving graphics performances, and the beefier your PC, the better I think the performance is. Now, benchmarking it and looking around in different aircraft, I definitely notice a bit of a smoother performance when it comes to the different aircraft. I tried out the Phoenix A320 primarily, but I also jumped in the PMDG 737, the Beechcraft, even the Cessna to see how they all worked out. And quite really, there was a benefit. It wasn't quite that, the frames doubled or anything like that, but it was a bit of a boost. And with the Phoenix A320, which is super frame heavy to begin with, I wanted to use that as my basis, although I did play around with some of the other software that's out there. And in my experience, I was able to get some nice gains. Nothing major. I'm not talking like I doubled it or anything like that. But hey, 5 or 10 more frames than I had before is 5 or 10 frames I didn't have before, and I will gladly take it. It's really important when you fly in areas with a lot of stuff in it, especially around cities. New York City is a great example of this. There's many times in which I'll be on the ground, and I just pan the camera over in the direction of Manhattan, and all of a sudden you get the stutters, right? And with the update, it seemed to be a lot better with that. Less of the stuttering going on altogether. Now, I also wanted to see what's it like if I fly in the middle of nowhere. Where's somewhere where no one ever flies? Ah, yes, Missouri. So I went over there, spawned into St. Louis, and performance was a little bit better there than it was back in New York. So the good news is the performance is really very, very good. Speaking of performance, something else that Microsoft added here is new support for NVIDIA's DLSS anti-aliasing and upscaling option in the PC. If you have an RTX graphics card, then you'll be able to take advantage of this new option, which will really be fully implemented when NVIDIA updates its graphics drivers. But the good news is there is much better performance. Now, it comes at a slight cost, at least as of right now, and I think this is a very temporary thing, but you'll notice in your displays a lot of blurriness when things in the displays change, like when you change the altitude or your heading, the numbers get very blurry in the transition. Once they stop moving, it's totally fine. So I call this more, I don't even know if it's an annoyance, just something that stands out certainly, but after doing a couple flights with this, it didn't bother me. It was just something you notice. And again, from what we understand, when NVIDIA updates their graphics drivers, then this bug should go away. If you fly general aviation aircraft, you're going to be really excited to hear that the G1000 NXi is now the default G1000 in the simulator. This brings a number of features to the G1000 and taken close to the real thing, including VNAV, procedure turns, holds, arc legs, visual approaches, accurate autopilot modes, full RNAV, and much, much more. So anybody who's flying general aviation is really going to enjoy this. Microsoft did note, by the way, that the G1000 NXi is now the default in Sim Update 10. However, it will only display in the default Sim aircraft equipped with the G1000. To enable the G1000 NXi in third-party G1000 equipped aircraft, you've got to install and or update the G1000 NXi available from the marketplace to ensure you have version 0.14. I think the most noticeable difference for a lot of people once they've hopped into the sim is the new cloud layer system. Yeah, so there's a new cloud layer system that will provide more vertical precision at lower altitudes to better reflect the various cloud altitudes and thickness close to the ground. Essentially, the clouds just look a whole lot better, and for a lot of people, they've noticed this big change. Something else that's in Sim Update 10 that's flying under the radar, let's see what I did there, is definitely the ability for the premium aircraft to be unlocked. The Sobo has unlocked the premium aircraft, the 787, the SR-22, all these default aircraft that were, pretty bad, but unfortunately preventable from being modded by the community are now open. And this is going to be a big deal for a lot of people who saw potential in this. Same way that we've seen other default aircraft be modded, like the Fly-by-wire A320, the Salty 747, among others. This is now going to allow the community access to these files, and this is a big deal. I think we're going to see some really nice upgrades in the coming months as the community hops in there. This is something that I think right now doesn't really mean a whole lot, but as we go forward, this is going to be a major change, I think. For me, in my playing around with some Update 10, I was really looking at performance primarily, and then just looking for any other bugs that might come out there. With new updates in the past, there's usually been some bugs introduced, but really, other than the blurry numbers I noticed with the DLSS update, I really didn't see any other issues that came up, and I'm pretty happy with it. I did a lot of comparisons between DirectX 11 versus DirectX 12, and I really didn't find much of a difference, so I think I'll just keep it on 11. And as I mentioned, performance-wise, at least in the A320, which I flew a lot by Phoenix, I felt like it's really a nice little step up. I think there's going to be a lot of potential down the line, and my hope is that Sim Update 10 is really a starting point for a lot of developers to be able to hop on this and do more with what is baked into this update. But I really like the direction of where they're going with this. I think overall, it is a great update, and since we don't really have a choice whether or not you update your software or not, at least this one you can go in without kicking and screaming, and I'm really enjoying it. Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite aspect of Sim Update 10? What really stands out to you? Because there's a lot of difference that they put in here, and there's a lot of things if you dive through the release notes, but I think ultimately the performance increase, hopefully more as we go forward and developers are able to take advantage of everything, is going to be a big upgrade. If you like this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button. It really helps us out, and subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notifications. That means you mash that bell icon, and that way YouTube lets you know we have a brand new video to share. This has been HotchMania. We'll talk again real soon.